right. Hey, it's Ariel Anderson. I'm here, and that was a little bit rah-rah, but that's where I am this morning. I am keeping pumped up. So, what are we talking about today? Well, we're talking about making choices. And the truth about that is that whether you're on a fertility path or you're just in life, making choices it's pretty intense. And if you're making a bigger choice for a transition, and what bigger transition is there than having kids for the first time or again, then it can be, you feel like a lot of pressure. So I wanted to talk about that today because it came up in one of our private sessions that we do, twice a month. And we started to go down that road, and I realized that we needed to do more. And I can't do everything, but we can at least look at what the most important thing is. And I'm going to tell you that in just a minute. So if you're new here, please do hit subscribe. And if there's anything interesting here, like it, well, that goes for people who are returning. If you're returning, then welcome back. This is an international circle, and we talk about fertility, midlife pregnancy, and all the things that come along with that, partnership and sexuality and motivation and the stresses and all the things underneath. There's a lot of things to work with. When you are on your fertility path, it is a part of your path as a person. And so today I really want to dive in with that because, while I remember vividly this moment of, all the choices that were in front of us. And for me personally, everybody is different. So the first thing I want to say is, if you've been here at all, you know that I'm always going to encourage you to do what your body knows how to do, if that's possible. So I do believe that there are a lot of ailments that can happen because I've seen it. I've watched women get pregnant through fibroids, and after major illnesses and, Lyme disease and traumas and, Hashimoto's, that came up, it's been in my circle actually for quite a while. And I've seen success with that too. So there are a lot of things that I believe in that you may not have heard about yet. So you might be feeling are an obstacle for your choices. So I want to open that up first and just remind you that there's so much that's possible. And I'm going to keep saying it because that's basically my motto is it's possible. After living for 22 years in relationship with a country that, well, now it's what, 20, maybe it's 26 now, years, with, ex-communist country that used to believe in all the possibilities, had so much creativity, but had moved into it's not possible. And I married somebody who's Swedish who has the same, it's not possible comes before something just jumped out at me. Maybe it has a meaning. So I'm really working with that. And I know that even if you're a person who's been really hopeful and things have been, then you got to get on this path and there's this dip and you think, how can I make the right choice? So I just wanted to address that to say, yes, I'm going to push natural, but it's also not always an option. Maybe there are things going on or things from the past where your body is not able to do things. And yet if there isn't a physical obstacle, meaning you don't drop eggs anymore or something like that, I'm gonna still there's a lot of things that have happened that seem like massive miracles, like eggs show up that you thought weren't there. Like, how is that even possible? I don't know. Maybe it's about technology. Maybe it is miracles. I can't say, but I want to remind you of that it's possible so that when you're making your choices, you feel that expansiveness. I was watching something and I was thinking about you because it was, and I've had some experiences over the last transition as well, where I noticed that it's so hard it can be really hard to be creative when you're feeling a pressure, whether it's a financial pressure, a time pressure, a health pressure. There's a lot of things. And I don't mean to be a little bit like, but it's just about making a choice. But it is a little bit about making a choice. Getting to that choice might take a little more work. And that's why I think that's why mindfulness and having something to work with. That's why when we can go through and actually do that, that's what we were working with a bit on Tuesday when we met. And so I want to just come to that. How do you make your choices? Because if you're looking at, I don't know, maybe the doctors are right, maybe my friends are right, or my mind is telling me that it's not as possible as I think to do it naturally. Okay, so if you're thinking like that, okay, let's look at that. It's not a wrong, it's just a fact. Okay, so let's look at that. If you're considering, or because of what's happening with your body and you're kind of just like, this feels like the right choice for me, or you're not sure, you're addressing this, you're looking at IVF or assisted. Okay. So I want you to think about who you are as a person and how you've done things in the past. This is really important, and I'm going to tell you why, because often in situations that are new or unfamiliar, meaning it's not an everyday thing. Maybe you've had kids, so you're thinking, oh, I know the choices, I get it, and I'm not discounting that. What I'm saying is, if this is not something that's happening every day, and it's something that is evolving, like technology, things are changing every day, your body, your psyche, your story is changing every day. Yesterday, 1 minute from now wasn't the same as now. Okay, so then I just ask you for the possibility that you might not know, and that's okay. And I encourage that. I rather than not knowing, because there's an openness there. So think about for a moment. Maybe you can close your eyes, or maybe you don't want to. That's okay too. You could close your eyes for a moment. Let's take a breath and land in this, because this is important. Okay, take a deep breath with me. As far as you can go. And then exhale it out, kind of just grounding into being really present with me in this moment. Eyes open or closed, it's up to you. And I want to ask you this. In other things, what happens when I say this? If it's about a creative idea, if it's about a friend who wants to do something, or maybe the scenario is something like this. What if you were walking down the street to your favorite store or cafe and someone jumped in front of you and said, hey, you don't get to go in here. This place isn't for you. What would your response be? Now, I'm asking this in a real way without looking for a particular answer. If someone jumped in front of you and said, nope, you don't get to go in here, would your response be something really, what is the true response? Let's just take a moment, like a couple seconds of silence here before I start planting ideas. What would your response? Imagine that you're walking in, you're really looking forward to this sort of joyful moment. And now I ask this. Would it be that you'd say, excuse me, who are you? Please move out of the way. I'm going in to get my favorite chai, or that scarf that I've been looking at, or some apples, whatever it might be that you were looking forward to, that you were excited about, and then someone stands in the front of you and sort of interrupts your moment. Or would it be that you would internalize and you would kind of really feel that quite strongly and feel that you're not worthy? Or whatever else might be in that sort of where you're internalizing. I can say really honestly, as a introvert, extrovert, on the border person, it can depend on how great your sleep has been or what's going on in your life, the other transitions and pressures. When there's more pressures and I already feel bad about myself and I don't really have extra energy, I might just say, you know what, fine. I really don't have it in me to fight this today. I'm going to go somewhere else. On a lot of days, though, when it was something like that where I know with my whole being that there's no reason that I couldn't be allowed to go in there, then I'm going to say, I don't know what's happening here right now, but I'm going to go in. Okay, you do what you're doing here. You do you. I'm going to do me. And, kind of work around whatever this, in my opinion, crazy person is trying to say. Now, maybe they're protecting me. Maybe it's they're protecting me. Maybe they think they're going to help. Maybe they need help. Or maybe they're just being aggressive. Why am I talking about this bizarre scenario? Well, I'm doing this. I mean, maybe it's obvious, but it's the mind. The mind is that person. Maybe your doctors, maybe other people, but really what it comes down to is it's not about what they say. It's not about the stats. It's about your mind. Your mind is there to protect you. It doesn't want you to make a choice that is uncomfortable or might not be safe in its mind. And what that means is something familiar. Giving birth, being pregnant, even if you've done it before, it's not a daily activity like breathing. It's danger. I mean, let's just be real. I almost died giving birth. I didn't feel it that way because I knew I wasn't going to die. I knew in my whole heart that I was meant to have this child with this person, or, just to have this child and I would be around. I knew that, so I was lucky or blessed that I didn't worry about it. But in factual science, if you want to look at that, I almost died. So it is, and women that was the number one, death cause way back when, right? We're talking hundreds of years ago, or maybe not even that far back. We still have issues in certain countries, right? So it's just something to think about. So that person standing in front of you, going into the place that's going to bring you something that's going to bring you joy that you're excited about, which obviously in the analogy is your baby, your family, your babies. That is the mind standing in front. And so I just encourage you to, in making your choices, remember that you have a right to have your babies as much as you do have a right to go into your favorite cafe or shop or park or wherever it might be that you were going and someone stood in the way. And that the mind is always going to tell you something else and inhibit your ability to make choices. Okay, so that's the first thing is I want to say just that pressure of giving away power, because I know a lot of us do that. We give it away to experts like myself or a doctor or another healthcare worker who knows better than you. They might know something that's important to know for you to consider when making your choices. But you, I'm going to point at you. I'm going to do this. I don't want to point at you. You are the only one who gets to make the choice. At least in this country, at least in this time, unless you're in the hospital and you're unconscious or something else bizarre happens. So I want to encourage you to know that no one else knows you like you. Your body, you know your body better than anyone else. No one else, your parents, nobody else really knows better than you because you're with your body 24 hours a day for as long as you've been on the planet. That's a fact. And yet we give that power away a lot. And so that makes it really difficult to make a choice, because if you aren't having the confidence or the belief that you have a right to make this choice with the knowledge that you have, this incredible wisdom and expertise about your own body, that would make it really hard to make a decision, to choose something, one or the other. Now, I'm not going to deep dive, because we're already at 13 minutes here. I'm not going to deep dive into, exactly what decision you're supposed to make, because that's not up to me. But definitely we're looking at, if you're looking at assisted versus natural, the first thing you need to look at is what I just talked about. The next piece that is really important, and then we're going to kind of leave you with that. I don't want to overfill you today, is who you are, and that knowledge of who you are, that wisdom of who you are. Looking at how you make choices about other things, if you feel fiery or you don't. And if you, coming back to that, person standing there, that mind in front of your choice, really take a breath. And maybe we'll make this a two-parter, because I can't deep dive into both of those things, and I don't want to overfill you today. That's important to me. Is just looking at how you normally make decisions, as I said before, and then taking that information and just taking a look at why you might be losing power inside of these choices with fertility. Is it about some dynamic with your partner, with doctors, with feeling like you don't know enough information, whatever it is, just looking at where there's I don't want to say weak link, but where there's a shaky bit, and then play with that and see, kind of experiment in your mind before you actually even do anything, what you could do to shift that. I would love to spend more time with you here on this, but I don't want to overfill you. So I just want to start with that. Start with that, and we can look at exploring that more, or you can come to one of our private things if you want to do it more personally. We've got the link down below to jump in there for the private group, because it's so personal. I would love to walk you through your choice and play with that, and do some mindfulness. So maybe now while you're thinking about it, and maybe it's not even about thinking but feeling. So let's take another breath as we're going to end here. Take a deep breath in and exhaling. And I ask you a question. I'm going to remind you of what the question is, and you can answer now or on the replay. And it goes like this. What is keeping me from my choice? The choice that is right for me? And just ask that question simply. Maybe when you take a couple breaths with your eyes closed between meetings, or before you go to bed at night, and then you wake up in the morning, your mind is a little bit less intact and it gives you answers. And just ask that question. Before you even consider what your choices are, look at what keeps you from making your right choice. Or also look at what allows you to make your right choice. Is it a feeling of stability in your world? Is it when things are flowing with your partner? Is it when you are spending more time in nature, you feel more clear, or more sleep, or all of the above? Those are the things I want you to think about a little bit as you move forward in making your right choice. And then we can do another video, or we'll do a workshop or whatever. We'll do something, and we can dive in a little bit more into that. I want to say thank you for being here. Definitely like it, and pass it on to anybody who you think would be wanting that. And remember all the free things down in the description. You can jump in and grab those things, and there are also free and paid things down in there. It's up to you. Have some fun. I'm here every Friday. Next Friday, it will be at 9 o'clock because it is the first Friday of the month, and so we always do it at 9. That is California time. So, all right. I will see you soon. I'm Ariel Anderson, coaching, guiding, being present, and holding space for what's yours on your fertility and midlife reality path as a person, and getting you to joy and health. Have a beautifully imperfect day.